Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear students, nice to meet you again in our 13th lecture. Okay? And this is, of course, the one for the last. And the 13th lecture, today's lecture, we'll start the last genre of the American literature, and that is drama. Okay? We have had already poetry genre, fiction genre, and today we start with the last genre, اللي هو drama genre, اللي هو concerning with plays. Okay, the drama that is selected for this course, it's a one-act play, and it's called Trifles. Trifles is a one-act play written by a playwright, a woman called Susan Glaspell. Okay, Susan Glaspell, is an American famous writer, born in 1882 in Davenport, Iowa, and she graduated from Drake University and worked as a journalist, okay, on the staff of the Des Moines Daily News, okay, and she wrote very famous stories, including some some plays, one-act plays, and she also was one of the members who founded, a company, a very famous company in the States, concerned with drama. It's called Provincetown Players, okay? Provincetown Players, which is a theater company in Provincetown, in Massachusetts. The players, of that company were remarkable actors, and were remarkable actors, directors, and writers, including some famous authors, some literary famous figures in the States, like O'Neill and Edna St. Vincent Millay. Okay, much of Glaspell's writing is strongly feminist. Okay, she was a very strong feminist writer. She was a writer who fought for the rights of the woman in the early 19th and 18th, late 18th century and early 20th century and late 19th century. So I think also you need to read about this writer on your own, and you have to know basic information about her life, just a short biography about her life, اللي هو Susan Glaspell, the writer of Trifles, which is our topic of today's lecture. Okay, before I start with discussing Trifles, the play, the one-act play, we need to go first to some specific specialized literary terms that are related or very much concerned with the drama in particular. So we have already had, literary terms that are very much related to poetry, and then other, another list that that is related to fiction. And today we'll have a third and last list of terms, of literary terms that are related to drama. Okay, some of this list might be something that you have already read or studied, in previous genres or in other courses, courses of literature. So, but we need to know these because they are more related to drama. And of course, you need to, for the final exam, you need to know the definition of each term with, يعني every time you memorize a definition or a term, a literal term, you need to also what? To memorize or to know how to exemplify your definition. And you have to have an example for each definition to prove your knowledge about the term. Of course, the terms will be, of course, put in multiple choice in the final exam, most probably, unless there is something else. Okay, but no. Let's say for number one we have act. Okay, act is as the first year literary term, which is what? It's a section of a play. Plays are usually divided into acts, okay, and each act sometimes is divided into scenes, okay, but sometimes we have a one-act play, like trifles, the one that we are going to cover this course in this semester. We have a play of one act. So what an act is? What is a section of a play, a major section of a play. Scene is a minor section of a play that comes under act. So acts are divided into varying numbers of shorter scenes. Okay. اللي هو نقول act يعني زي في العربي نسميه الفصل، وديفايد into shorter sections اللي هم السينز، يعني ايش هو المشاهد. في عندنا الفصل الاول، الفصل الثاني، الفصل الثالث، بعدين نقول الفصل الاول المشهد الاول، المشهد الثاني، الفصل الثاني المشهد الاول، المشهد الثاني، المشهد. اوكي. إذا عندنا فصول مقسم إلى مشاهد scenes. Okay, from ancient times to this is the most important thing about the first term. Then we have characterization. Characterization اللي هي, remember, it's the art of presenting the characters. Okay, you have here to differentiate between characters and characterizations. The character is the person, okay, who acts, who has a role, who is mentioned, or who is referred to, or who appears in any work of literature, in a work of fiction or a drama, let's say. Okay, the characterization, no, it's not the person, it's the art of presenting these persons, these people, or the art of presenting, okay, the characters. Okay, so here the characterization, the means اللي هي الways يعني methods, the means by which writers present and reveal the characters, our character. Although the techniques of characterization are complex, writers typically reveal characters through their speech, dress, manner, and action. Okay, characters are revealed, are يعني shown, introduced to the readers or to the audience, either through their speech, or through their dress, or through their manner, or through their actions, or through sometimes the speech of other actors about them. Okay. Here you have, an example. You can use the examples that you have here on these pages and the slides, or use your own examples. If you are asked to give an example, you can give your own example if you have a good, clear example, or an example from the text that we have, from the works of literature that we have this semester. Then we have climax. Climax is also something you have, I think, in fiction, okay, which is the peak of the complex of the actions, okay, the most complicated point of the actions, the peak, the top point of the actions in a story or in a drama. يعني where actions get very complicated, and then now start, the writer starts to find a way to untie or solve these problems, or solve this complication. It's also called the turning point. Okay, it's the turning point of the action in the plot of a play or a story. الكوميدي is طبعا very important as one of the major types of drama. Okay, in drama there are different types of forms of drama. What we are more concerned about two major parts, two major kinds, اللي هم ايش؟ الكوميدي and the tragedy. So comedy is a type of a drama in which the character experience reversals of fortune, usually for the better. In comedy, things work out happily in the end. Comic drama may be either romantic, characterized by a tone of tolerance and geniality, or satiric. Okay, satiric works offer darker. This is not important. So at least the first part is the most important part of this definition. Okay, اللي هو comedy, what is it? Is a type of a drama in which the characters experience reversals of fortune, usually for the better. In comedy, things work out happily in the end. That's the most important part of the definition. So this is what a comedy is. Then we have next is conflict or plot. Okay, we said about conflict and plot. The conflict اللي هو struggle. Okay, the struggle between opposing forces, between contradictory forces. Okay, without a conflict we can't have a play or a story. Okay, there should be a conflict to have a story or a play, and the conflict can be of different kinds. You know, a conflict can be it takes different forms. Can be man against man, man against woman, man against himself, man against his society, man against the traditions, the customs of his society, or man against nature. Okay, so it can be of different forms. Conflict. Conflict, of course, comes in a form of a plot. يعني اللي هو ايش البلوت؟ arrangement of actions. And the arrangement of actions اللي هو البلوت comes in a kind of a traditional structure that is called what? The plot structure, which is what? which is formed of 5 parts. اللي هو ايش؟ introduction اللي هو بنسميه البلوت structure. plot structure تركيب، طريقة تركيب البلوت، الحبكة أو العقدة تبع المسرحية أو أي قصة تتكون من 5 أجزاء. عادة بتكون إيش؟ goes in just like in an arch أو like a pyramid. من 5 أجزاء. It goes introduction, rising action، بعدين الكلايمكس at the top. بعد الكلايمكس بنسميه إيش؟ اللي هو falling actions، بعدين الدونيومنت أو الإند أو الريزلت اللي هو الإند of the end of the play or end of the story. So this is what is meant by conflict and a plot. Then dialogue. Dialogue is also an important element of a drama. Okay, it's of course what? It's the conversation between the characters in the drama or in a story. It's the same because in stories also we have dialogues, but here the dialogue is basic. Is a basic element in a drama, because the drama is based on the conversation between the characters. So the dialogue is the conversation of characters in a literary work. Okay, fiction dialogue are typically طبعا the difference between the dialogue in fiction and in drama. In fiction, the dialogue is reported for the reader in between 2 semi-quotation marks. Okay, he said, quotation mark, blah 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 blah. She said, quotation mark, blah 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 blah, then quotation mark. Okay, that's it. But in drama, the dialogue is presented by the speakers directly to the audience, by the characters themselves. Okay, speech that precedes by their preceded by the names, of course. Okay, when it is read. If it is attended in a theater, you just hear or listen to the dialogue right from the characters. The foreshadowing, it's also something I think you have it's mentioned in a previous lecture. اللي هو ايش؟ اللي هو clues, hints about what may come later in the story or in the play. So the foreshadowing is the use of hints or clues to suggest what will happen later in the literary work, in a literature, a piece of literature. الهايبربولي اوكي اللي هي ايش؟ الاكزاجريشن. الاكزاجريشن اللي هو ايش سميها كمان؟ اوفر ستيتمنت. بس simply speaking الهايبربولي is exaggeration او it is what? The over statement. It's the same, either over statement او exaggeration. طبعا اللي هي الاوبوزيت تبعها ايش؟ الاندر statement when something is not exaggerated. This is not important. Under statement. Okay, we are concerned with what? With the hyperbole as what? As an exaggeration or exaggerated statement or over stated statement or idea. Okay, فينا نقول example, I am so hungry I could eat a horse. This is hyperbole. Okay, exaggeration. I can eat a horse. Okay, he's as big as a house. Exaggeration. Comparing someone as big as a house. Exaggeration. Okay, irony. It's also important, very important in any piece of literature, poetry, fiction, or drama. So you have to pay attention to what is said, okay, or what is written in any piece of poetry, any piece of literature, because sometimes the words do not mean exactly the way they are read, okay? So because there is something like, what that's called irony, okay, which is what? To say something and mean something else. So sometimes, you hear, a character, he is saying something, but you are sure that he doesn't mean it, he means the opposite. So irony is to say something and mean something else. Okay? It's an implied discrepancy, okay, difference between what is said and what is meant. Okay? So it's, the irony implies what? A big difference, or a difference between what you say and what you mean. To say to someone that you are, someone who that he is stupid, lazy, fool, but still you tell him, oh, you are smart, you are excellent, you are brilliant, but you don't mean it. You mean the opposite. Or to say to someone who is obese, or a lady who is obese, then you call her, give her a beautiful name, someone who is just like, a breeze, okay, someone who is obese, and then you call her, Nisma, okay, or someone who is miser, you call him bounteous, or Kareem, okay, واحد بخيل تسميه كريم, okay, you tell him that you are, bounteous, okay, but he is not. When you tell him that you are bounteous, okay, you mean the opposite. Okay, here if you mean the opposite, if you don't mean what you say something, mean something else, that means you are ironic here. You are ironic. So the use of the words to convey the opposite of their literal meaning. The opposite of their literal meaning. Okay, a statement or situation where the meaning is contradicted by the appearance or presentation of the idea. Okay, في أمثلة برضه في المسرحيات العربية. Okay, زي مثلا لما واحد يتكلم عن وضع يقولوا كيف الوضع، يقول يكون هو خايف، لكن يتكلم عن الوضع بيقول بالعكس، ما هو يقول لا الوضع الحمد لله ممتاز، الرغيف كبير والمواصلات فاضية ومش لكن he means the opposite. He is ironic here. He is ironic. Okay, three kinds of irony. في عندنا kinds of في عندنا either the irony is verbal، it is something written أو said. Okay, or it could be dramatic, when an audience feels something that a character in the literature does not know. Okay, the character does not know. Here, this is something you feel. When it is dramatic, it's something, and the irony is felt. Okay, is felt by the audience, by the viewers. Okay, but the irony of situation here بنسميه situational irony اللي هو the differences between the expected results and the actual results. Okay, اللي هو ال ironic situation when you talk about, let's say, you know, if you talk about, you know, someone who has millions of riyals, okay, and you know this person, he's very rich, he has millions of riyals, but he lives on bread and water. So this is sort of a discrepancy, okay? Okay, so this is what is called, you know, ironic situation, or irony of situation. يعني here the situation is ironic for someone who is so rich, but he lives on bread and water because he can't eat, you know, the normal type of food like other people. Otherwise, مثلا, he might get sick or he may die if he eats other than bread and water. Okay, so this is ironic, يعني opposite what is expected. Next is المونولوج. هنا طبعا this is also very يعني special term you find in drama. In monologues here we have dialogue, monologue. A dialogue is the conversation between characters because it's dia, يعني more than one. Okay, conversation, you know, dialogue, conversation takes place, I mean, between, or no, it takes place between more than one person. Okay, it happens between more than one person. Like in a monologue, okay, when the speech is said by a single character, okay, without another character's response, يعني there isn't another character involved in monologues. In monologue, no, it's just one person, one character, you know, speaks something to the audience. This is monologue. So there isn't another part or another party of this conversation. This is a conversation of one person. He's talking to the audience. He's saying something to the audience or to be heard. لكن ايش؟ شوف الopposite عن ايش؟ السولولوكي. السولولوكي is also ايش؟ a speech. Okay, said by a character. Okay, is not meant to be heard by is meant to be heard by the audience, but not by the other characters on the stage. Okay, or in the drama on the stage, let's say. So it's a soliloquy. Someone يعني speaks to himself. A conversation between the character and himself takes place inside the character. So, but the audience can hear it, but not the other characters. زي بنسميها بالعربي المناجاة. Okay, بيناجي نفسه. Okay, هو المستمعين المتفرجين يسمعوا هذا الكلام المناجاة، لكن هو بيكون جنبه ناس ثانيين من الأشخاص المسرحية لكن ما يسمعوا هذا السولولوكي. Okay, يعني it's not meant to be heard by the other characters. So اللي هي a speech in a play that is meant to be heard by the audience but not the other characters on the stage. بس. Okay, if there are no other characters present, the soliloquy presents the character thinking aloud. طبعا هذا بيكون المقصود فيها اللي هي المناجاة هاي اللي ايش؟ اللي هي يعني reflects, you know, the thinking, or the feelings of the character, but in يعني loudly أو let's say aloud. يعني as someone will say think loudly. يعني think and let's hear what you are thinking. So this is what is meant by soliloquy. Like here Hamlet طبعا هي المشهورة to be or not to be soliloquy. في الهاملت في مسرحية هاملت في أكثر من soliloquy ومنها this famous part. Okay, when he speaks to himself to be or not to be, he was, you know, Hamlet was, you know, in struggle. Okay, يعني inside himself there was sort of a struggle, so he was speaking to himself in sort of what we call soliloquy. Scene اللي هو we said about it before, a subdivision of an act of a drama. scene قلنا ايش؟ هو يعني a part of an act in a drama أو a subdivision of an act of a drama اللي هو ايش قلنا المشهد اللي هو ايش جزء من الفصل في المسرحية consisting of continuous action taking place طبعا what makes the scene different from acts because it talks about continuous action taking place at a single time in a single location. Okay, the beginning of and end of scenes may be indicated by clearing the stage of actors. This is not important. Okay, so it is the first two lines. Then tragedy, which is very important, as a second type of drama. Okay, this is a second major type of drama. Drama in which characters experience reversals of fortune, usually for the worse. هذيك for the better اللي هو الكوميدي reversals of fortune for the better. أما الtragedy for the worse because it ends up with a lot of deaths. Okay, and catastrophes, problems, troubles. Okay, catastrophe and suffering await many of the characters, especially the hero. طبعا examples هو most of a lot of Shakespeare's plays اللي هو بسموهم Shakespeare's tragedies like Othello, Hamlet, وبعدين عندنا Sophocles Antigone, Oedipus Rex كمان, Oedipus the King. Okay, these are examples. Okay. Okay, so this is what we meant to start with first اللي هو ايش literary terms related to drama. Okay, so on we go. Please for this part of the course you need to read Trifles, the one-act play by Susan Glaspell. Okay, one-act play by Susan Glaspell. This is it. And I meant to choose and I really looked hard to find as a drama that is as short as possible, to find one that is short, something that you can read and doesn't take much time from you. So I hope this is, I think this is the shortest I could find. So please, you have to read the play Les Trifles by Susan Glaspell, and it's of about let's say it's about 13 pages. It's about 13 pages, and you will have it attached for you with the contents of this lecture. The play Trifles is a very let's say beautiful story or play. Talks about a murder of a person living in a farmhouse, and then we have one of the owner, Mr. Hale, one of the owners of this farmhouse friend, he reported the murder of his friend Mr. Wright, and the police, the officer came with Henderson, George Henderson, the lawyer or the attorney, the George Anderson, the attorney, the county attorney, who هو the lawyer, okay, of the city, okay, of the area there. They came to, he came with the officer of the area there, okay, the officer اللي هو the policeman. They came to investigate this murder with the sheriff, okay, the sheriff. So they started to look for clues. So and the sheriff and his deputy Frank, اللي هو his helper or assistant, and Henderson, the lawyer, with their wives. They came with their wives to the location or to the scene of the crime, and they wanted to find any clues or hints to this murder, to discover or to reveal, or to find who committed that murder. So they tried their best to find, the sheriff, the policeman, the officer, and the attorney, the county attorney, lawyer, who the Mr. Henderson. Okay, they tried their best, to find any clue or any, hint to help them to know the murderer. But it ends up, and this is very important, and this is what the title of the play is all about. It ends up that although these people, the sheriff, and the lawyer, okay, the attorney, the county attorney, are professional people, and they did their best, and they checked thoroughly every place in the house, in the farmhouse of Mr. Wright. They couldn't find a motive or a clue or a hint to the murderer. But these ladies, the wives of Mr. Henderson and the sheriff, when they were there in the house, just looking for trying to gather or collect some personal belongings or possessions of Mrs. Wright, because she has to go to the prison because she's suspected. While doing so, they found a hint or a clue to the murder, and it was something sort of a trifle. The clue was a trifle because it wasn't a serious one. It was just something related to the kilt and the knots, to something that they make while threading or kilting or knotting a piece of kilt. So through these trifles that men consider trifles, when women give more attention, so through these trifles they could help in finding the murderer and solve the complication, okay, of who killed Mr. Wright. Okay, there is here, let's say for example, in one part of this story, there is just to give you an example here of a figure of speech. Okay, here, let's say for example, page here, the men here reading this here, well, women are used to worrying over trifles. Okay, so women are worrying over trifles, and yet for all their worries, what would we do without the ladies? Henderson says, washing his hands. Nothing how disorderly the kitchen looks of Mrs. Wright, and with its unwashed pans and dish towel on the table, and the dirty towels with which he wipes his hands, he comments, not much of a housekeeper, would you say, ladies? Okay, so here to about woman and being concerned with trifles, indicating that ladies in general are concerned with trifles. But here the writer wants to prove that even these trifles that women are concerned with could be of importance. Okay, we should not look her message is to say we should not look at women as trifles, or women or people who are concerned only with trifles, not with serious things, because even these trifles could be of value and could lead to let's for example here discovering a murder or a murderer. Then here, let's say for example, we have looks on this page, third line, okay, اللي هو slide number 10, okay. She says, third line from the top, she says John Wright was an upright man who did not drink and was good to his word. He was a good person, okay, and he kept his promises and good to his word. However, he was also a hard man, okay, like a raw wind that gets to the bone. So Mr. Wright was a hard man like a raw wind. هون هذا, this is an example of a figure of speech اللي هو ايش؟ simile. هون عندنا simile. You need to look for more figures of speech while you are reading the play. Look for more figures of speech and underline them. I mean, you know, look for similes, metaphors, ironies, symbols, then also paradoxes and foreshadows. Look for the theme, of course, of the story, okay, and so on, okay. So okay, and that is, yeah, let's say the end of the lecture today. And you need to read. I have already given you here a summary of the whole, really a detailed summary of the whole play. You read the summary. After reading the play, you have to read the play first. Underline the important parts of it. Okay, important quotations, important speeches, and underline any figure of speech that you come, you come through while reading the play. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll see you soon in our next and last, lecture. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.